Welcome back to the She Sweet Society, the podcast where we celebrate the real, the raw, and the remarkable journeys of women who chose to bet on themselves. I'm your host and empowerment Sherpa, Dahlia, and today's guest is someone who spent years living a life that looked perfectly fine on paper. Steady job, security, a clear path forward, and then one day she heard a voice, not a whisper, a voice, and it changed everything. Christina Renzelli is a life coach who helps people uncover their innate gift and bring it to the world. But her road to that work was anything but straight. We're talking Italy, Chicago, a decade-long teaching career, and a moment of reckoning that she'll tell you she simply could not ignore any longer. This is a conversation about what happens when you finally stop outsourcing your decisions to fear and start trusting the one voice that actually knows you best. I think you're really going to love this one. Let's dive in. What do you do? What would you say you do as your life's work?
So that's a tough question. I think I help people figure out their gift and how to use it in the world. Really.
I know you do that and you do it quite well. You do it really, really well. How did you find your purpose? Because let's talk about your background before we get into that.
Okay.
You were an educator.
Yes. So I kind of fell into becoming a teacher. I became a teacher. Well, first of all, I changed my major like 100 times in college. Not really 100, but probably 7 times. I was like, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. How do I know that? And then I took a linguistics class and I loved linguistics because I loved people and I loved learning about people and I always loved learning like new languages because I could find out more about different people. So I thought, oh, well, I could stick with this and then I'll just travel the world and be an English teacher. I'll just use English teaching as a way to travel the world. So that's what I did. I became an English teacher. As soon as I finished college, I moved to Italy because I had done a study abroad program there. And my goal was to perfect my Italian skills and then move on to another country and learn another language. So I taught English. I had to go, this was back when you had to look up everything in the telephone book. So I got a one-way ticket and looked up English schools in Florence, Italy.
Dang, how brave of you.
I just loved it. I was excited for the adventure. I was like, everything's going to work out. I know it will. And I'm excited to see how it unfolds. That was my whole way of living.
Have you always been that way? So sure that things would always work out?
Yeah, I think so. I think that I've always had a sixth sense where I was I've always been intuitive. So I've always known like if I feel something is meant to be, then that's leading me to it. So I did the whole English teaching thing. I stayed for about 3 years. But then my mom, she was like, I don't really like you living so far away. I don't want you to live far away. I was like, oh, but I wanted to. So she kind of was like, well, at least come back to the United States. So I ended up moving to Chicago, living in Chicago for 4 years, actually, because that's where my friends moved after college. They were like, let's live in the big city of Chicago. So I moved there too, sort of fell back into grad school because I was like, well, I guess I'll just get a teaching. I guess I'll go get my master's in education. Then I can it was really my family saying, "You need a steady job. You can't just be floating around the world forever." So I was like, "Okay." So got the master's degree, became a teacher, started teaching. At that point, most of my friends left Chicago, so I was like, "Well, I'll just go back home for a little while and see what's next, what next adventure happens." Um, and actually I got a job there, which I did not want. The principal talked to me and she's like, please just take this job. And that actually, the first year of teaching there, I was like, this is so fun. I love it. I loved it. Didn't want to do it forever, but I loved it. And it was just like one of those magical experiences where I'm like, I get to come to work and be with kids that just love life and they want to, I can just like inspire them, help them follow their dreams. So it was really fun. But then in that first year, my mother got a diagnosis of cancer. And also during that year, my sister found out she was pregnant with my first nephew. And so I was like, well, there's no leaving now. I didn't want to leave my family. So I ended up staying there for 11 more years. teaching.
Oh, wow. You went there thinking only 1 year.
I thought I'll try it for a year, just not try it, but I'll just be like, I'll do this for a year until I figure out my next plan.
Adventure, yeah.
hmm
And 11 years later. Wow. Sitting with that for a moment, how does that make you feel?
During that time, I felt so conflicted because I was like, I don't want to leave people I love, but also I want to go on adventures and do all the things that I dreamed of doing.
Live your life.
hmm Yeah, and I've never been like the steady job type of person where you go to the work the same place every day, do the same thing. I always loved the kids. Oh, that was what I was like. I loved the kids. They were so fun, and it's just such a joy to work with them every day. But then like the routine of doing the same, like driving to the same place, parking in the same parking lot. It really became a grind
Yeah.
that I was like, my soul did not, it was like, no, 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 this isn't for you. And yeah. And then my mother passed away. And the moment she passed away, I was like, I cannot, like, life is so temporary.
Yeah.
I can't be doing something that doesn't feel aligned with what I know I'm meant to do.
Yeah. That was your changing moment or
That
your
was the
light
moment.
bulb switch of, "Oh my God, I gotta live." Yeah.
Well, it was just like, how can this person I've always, like, I came from her, how, and now she's not here. Like, that just shows you how like, it's just the strangest. I mean, I know you understand it, but it's just the strangest feeling. Like, it just shows how temporary life is.
It really
And it
does.
and it changes what matters because it's like, oh, why would having secure the I'm using the air quotes, the security of a job be more important than than following your dreams?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it just it didn't make sense to me. And so it took me a while to figure out how to leave that job. Like, I think it was probably 2 or 3 years of planning and figuring it out and just figuring out what to do. And
And
I didn't know.
I'm sure probably sitting with yourself and like I feel like there's comes a certain amount of trauma when when you
Oh, yeah.
live against your life's desire and your soul's calling, and then a certain amount of healing that needs to take place. That's never ending, but healing.
And that's the journey, really,
Yeah.
because that is the journey. That's when I just started, um, trying to understand how I felt, how I got to feeling so stuck. Like,
Yeah.
how did I set aside those parts of my dreams and get so far into, like, well, there's no, like, there was a point where I thought, well, I have no options, but that is never true.
But it's easy to believe.
And I was like, I'm not this person that just doesn't think there's no I'm the person that finds a job by buying a one-way plane ticket and looking up English schools in the phone book.
Where how do you think you ended up feeling stuck?
I think I bought the lie. I
What's
bought
the
into the lie
yeah.
that financial security is security, and that having a steady job is safety. And I didn't buy the lie. I didn't really buy into the lie, but the fear, I think, kind of tricked me into believing it for a little while.
Yeah, fear is a
'Cause I mean,
powerful
we live in, yeah, oh, yes.
you're right, fear is very powerful. Can we talk just for a moment then about your childhood?
Sure.
Where did you grow up? How many siblings do you have?
So I have 2 sisters, both younger. I grew up in Athens, Ohio.
Okay. And how much younger are they?
2 years and 4 years.
Do you find that you are all very similar or are you very different from them?
Well, they have never wanted to leave our hometown. Like, they're still living there now. So, for some reason, I've had this need to travel and live everywhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're brave enough to follow that calling. I think that's pretty great. Would you did you have a pretty stable kind of upbringing? No. Your face is people can't see you, but I see you. Not stable. Fair enough.
Yeah.
If you could sum up your childhood in word or phrase or sentence, what would that be?
I would say it was a mixture of the best things and the worst things, a combination.
Which you almost need because you ever hear the phrase, and I'm sure it's not right because I butcher every phrase I've ever learned. It is what it is. But you can only experience the depths of anything to their like polar opposites. So you
Mhm.
can't really know extreme joy until you've felt extreme pain. You can't really know happiness until you've been that sad. Not real, but like that the extremities, and they keep expanding almost like a rubber band every time you do that. So what I'm picking up is you felt all those rubber band moments through your childhood.
I love that, the rubber band analogy because, yes, it was like the best of times and the I probably experienced everything that there could be to experience.
Very
Yeah.
fair. Very fair. And so that's kind of, do you think helped propel you to look inward a little bit more, to listen to yourself a little bit clearer?
I think I think so. I think I'm actually lucky for that, to have the best and the worst experiences because it's I've, talked to many, many people in my work, and some people the hardest time for people, I think, is if they just have the medium, like, nothing terrible, but nothing wonderful. It seems harder, I think, than to experience the highest highs and the lowest lows. Um,
I agree. They don't get it.
yeah.
I find that the people that I know for me, I have the most meaningful connections with or the strongest connections with understand because we come from this foundation of, of trauma and overcoming that trauma. And I should be clear, the people that have worked on the healing to overcome the trauma, the people that are still in it, never quite moved past it, that are still engaging in those kind of toxic behaviors, I don't vibe with. It's the people that have started to lean into what I call living, uh, that I tend to um, steer towards just naturally, organically. And I feel like you're the same way. I mean, that's kind of how we met in so many.
Yeah, I think it's kind of I guess I would describe it as either awake or asleep.
Ah,
It's
okay.
like so when I was very young, I had experiences that I guess we would call them supernatural, but I would dream things and then they would happen later. And so I always knew things before everybody else, or I could see the deeper meaning in life
Yeah,
more than anyone else.
yeah.
And I didn't think it was a gift at the time. I thought, "Oh, well," I did know it was a gift, but I also was like, "Everybody else thinks I'm a weirdo because of this."
Yeah.
Um, and they kinda knew it too. They were like, "How do you know these things?" But I think because of that, I knew life was a gift,
Yeah.
and,
A gift and a
tough
curse, right?
things can happen. Yeah, tough things can happen, and I'm like, "Okay, well, how can I what can I learn from it?"
Oh, totally agree. So let's pick up where we left off. So you're back. It's been 11 years. Your mom passes away. You
Yeah,
get sorry, go ahead.
she passed away, I think it was maybe in the 8 or 9-year mark of my teaching there. So I
Oh,
still had 2.5 to 3 years of teaching in the feeling of, "This isn't my job anymore."
yeah. Ugh.
And it
So
was
many people can
really
relate to that.
it was so hard because I was like, "Well, I could tr" and no matter what I did to try to make it mine, it wasn't mine.
Yeah, yeah. So you said you spent a few years building a plan,
Mhm.
um, and healing and going through that. What did that look like for you, and what did the plan result in?
So, the first thing I started just that's when I first started kind of trying to listen to what my intuition was telling me because I had been ignoring. I had been trying to ignore it so that things were neater and easier. It'd be much easier if you don't have to change everything about your life.
Right.
Which is what I think most people when they do feel stuck, it's because it's like sometimes you have to change everything in order to be back in alignment with what your heart really wants.
Yeah.
And that's not easy. It's the hardest thing ever. But there was a point where, because so for a couple years, I was just like, I could do this, I could do this, but nothing seemed easy enough. It's hard. It's really
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
And then one day I was walking, and I was at this point starting to feel physical symptoms
What were you
of
feeling?
like I couldn't sleep at night. I I had no energy whatsoever. Absolutely no energy. Could not sleep at night. Um, I pretty much disengaged from life in general. I could only make it to school, and then after school, I didn't do anything really. I was just wait till the next day, go back to work,
Yeah.
and then the weekends were the same. I mean, I didn't know. I knew I needed to make a change, but I thought it was just really hard. Um, and then one day, I was taking the students out to the bus, and I was leaving school, and I heard very clearly in my mind the voice that always tells me what to do that said, "One more day, you'll never get back."
Ah, what a gut punch.
I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay. That's right. No matter how hard it is, I gotta do something." So, I remember deciding that day that that was my last and this was a day in October of the school year, so that's pretty close to the beginning.
Yeah.
Um, so I remember saying, "Okay, I'm giving myself this is it. I'm gonna go tell my principal the next day that this is my last year." So the next day, like, I decided that was when I decided. Went in, told her the next day, and she was like, "Well, we'll see. Well, you might change your mind by I don't know, you have to give the school board a certain notice by April or something." Because I had a tenured position where it was like forever, I guess.
They're like, you
Um,
get to do this for the rest of your life.
yeah, and they're like, "Dude, nobody quits a tenured position."
And you're like,
And
do I have
so I
to?
was like, "No, I have" and so yeah, and so those that time from October through the rest of the school year, which ended up being in by June, that was, like, the hardest time for me. I did a lot of soul searching, a lot of reading, finding my own coach, um, decluttering. I did a lot of decluttering, and I was reading the Marie Kondo book, The Life-Changing Magic of, Tidying Up, but there was something about the way objects symbolize energy.
Oh,
And so I started just going through all these things that I'd collected over the last decade or more, and I was like, "I don't need this for my life." And I just started to give stuff away and get rid of things. And one of my neighbors came in one day and she's like, "It looks like you're, like, packing up and getting ready to move to Paris or something." And I was like, "This feels like what I feel like." Like, I needed to get rid of all the things that were holding me down.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so then I was like, "Oh, I could help people do that and start a job." I knew I wanted to help people with their inner world, but it seemed too hard. It seemed like, "Oh, is that really can I really do that?" So I decided I would start a professional organizing job or business, and that's what I did.
Was that easy? Did you find clients right away?
I found clients right away. I built the business, learned how to do that, But then I found myself in this exact same position where I would be driving to the job and saying, I hate this. I don't want to do this. Because it wasn't my true want. It wasn't truly what I was meant to do. It was a detour. It was like one stop there. It was one way in that but I was still holding myself back with fear of like, well, what would people say if I say I'm a life coach? Like, does that even sound like a real job? Like, I just wasn't like, who am I to say that?
Right. You didn't believe it yet.
I didn't believe it. I didn't really know how it would work. I didn't know. So I had then enrolled in a program to learn about that as I transitioned out of my organizing business into that next more aligned level.
At least you learned, though, in each of those you learned something valuable to help get you to your closer to your calling. Like stepping stones, maybe.
Yes. And I think that like all that was important. Looking back, I remember even during the time where the 3 years that I knew I needed to quit teaching through when I actually did, I remember I was even going to a career coach to try to help me figure it out. And like there was a time where I had no idea. It's so clear to me now what I'm meant to do, but I look back and I'm like, there was a time where I was not clear. I had no idea. And now I'm just so clear, like there's nothing else I'd want to do ever. So,
Wow. So you got
yeah.
there. And where is there now?
It's
How
it's
and
basically coaching.
how long did it take you to get there? From the I'm done my last day at the teaching gig. How between then and now, what length of time do you think it took you? Not that
From then,
yeah.
yeah, I'm right now at year 10 from actual quitting of the teaching. This is year 10. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Mhm.
And you're living in full alignment and you're thriving.
Yes. I'm living in full alignment, thriving. Every day gets better. Every year gets better. Everything gets better.
What do you think? What do you think was the main motivator?
I stopped ignoring my intuition. And I think that's my whole goal of what I help people to do. Because I know how it feels to ignore myself and ignore my intuition. And I know that everyone has intuition. And maybe I had a different type of where I can like have premonitions and know things, but everyone has intuition. I don't think
It's
that
like a
there's
muscle.
anyone that doesn't have it. Yeah, I think it's almost like it's something that gets hidden with life. It gets buried because we listen to the well-meaning experts that tell us that they know more. And so we're like, "Oh, well, okay, sure, that's true." But it's never true. Never true. We always know.
That's very interesting. Very interesting. So, what does a day in the life of Christina look like today?
So a day in the life will look like, you know what I did? The first thing I did when I stopped teaching, I
No.
stopped I stopped waking up before my body was ready to. Because I was so sleep deprived from I'm not an early riser. I'm a night person. And teaching did not work well with that with my circadian rhythm.
Mm-mm.
It never did. I can't go to sleep early, which I would have had to do to um to be a teacher, you have to get up early. So, I wake up, at a decent time for my body, which sometimes it's like 7:30 or 8 o'clock. And I do a lot of journaling first thing. I always journal in the morning because 'cause I'm just always in tune now with my intuition and what I'm like, what's up for that day. And then I spend my afternoons coaching my clients, and evenings, I spend with my husband.
I do want to touch on that. How did you meet?
We actually met online.
Oh, we're online. How
Yeah.
did that happen?
Well, so that was another part of my journey. I was like, I just didn't feel like I always knew I was meant to be. There was someone for me that I was meant to be with. And during my time teaching, I was like, there wasn't space for that. It was just like I had no energy. Plus, I worked in a school with mostly women, and there was just and it was in a small town, so I was like, I don't know where to meet someone. Um, so yeah, we met online.
That's
Yeah.
so brilliant. I love that so much. You're very open to your life unfolding for you rather than pushing some sort of agenda or pushing through to get to something. I think a lot of our culture tells us to bust down. It's very violent, right? The words like seize the day, tackle it.
Tackle it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're going to crush this. I don't want to crush anything. I just want to like peacefully.
Well, that actually is what I think shuts down most women, because women, um, like, our nervous systems are different than men. Our nervous systems are regulated with oxytocin versus like that dopamine of crushing things.
Yeah, yeah. It's not
Like,
not a joyful experience. I don't know why.
no.
It's a releasing experience, not a joyful experience. It's a very different experience. And I think a lot of people just um, follow a narrative that everybody pushes on them. So they assume this as being themselves rather than listening to themselves. And you've done a phenomenal job of doing the exact opposite.
Well, like the voice said, one more day that you'll never get back. I I felt in that moment it could have really hurt me or killed me, actually, if I had just kept ignoring it.
Wow, that's strong
It was that strong. I had no energy, like 0 energy. It's like,
to do anything. And you were
mhm.
brave enough to just say, nope, done, moving on. It's brave to me. That's brave because it takes courage to go against what people are shoving down your throat all the time.
It does, but I feel like there was no other option for, like, it was either listen to the truth or ignore it and potentially die.
Yeah,
Like,
see where this is. Yeah.
yeah.
So, for anybody listening, what piece of advice would you give them?
Always trust your intuition. And sometimes it takes peeling back the layers to know what that intuitive voice is, because it
Can
can
you
be
tell us
hard and
how to,
confusing.
yeah, yeah. Can you tell us how to do that? How did you do that?
It took me a long time, but to get started, I think you have to kind of let yourself get quiet and kind of cut off all the noise,
Yeah.
because there's so much noise from everything, and there's going to be a million people telling you what to do and advice to do this and this. And it's hard to hear your own voice if the noise is clouding out all of it.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, I use journaling or walking, just somewhere where I could be quiet and just start listening. And that's when, like, those little, and you'll start hearing things and start getting a sense. And I would even journal, like, if I was confused, I would journal as if I would ask a question to my higher self. And then I would kind of like just let the answers flow. And that actually worked really well. You can get a lot of truth from that practice.
I
It's
like that.
amazing what will come out.
Yeah, that is really, really great. Are you taking on more clients now?
Yes, I always hold space for, the way I do it is when I always know when someone's going to be in alignment. And it always works out to in that way.
I think that's lovely.
I would say every person is on their own journey.
Yeah.
And it's easy to let the world tell you to just abandon what you really want. But that's not the way. Like, there is a way to live your life on your terms. And the first way to start is start listening to your heart, to your intuition, because you have it. Everyone has it.
Yeah. Yeah. You just have to learn to trust it.
And that's a process. And so, also, I guess I would say, if you don't feel like you trust it right now, that's okay. That's normal. It's hard to just automatically trust something that has been buried under years of expert advice.
That might be the title.
It's really and everyone else is going to try to tell you that they know more than you, but they don't.
No.
Nobody else gets to tell you.
It's so annoying when they do that. It's so annoying when they do that. Christina, thank you so much for being here and for sharing your story with such honesty and heart. I know our listeners are going to feel this one. If anything Christina said today resonated with you, and I have a feeling it did, I want you to reach out to her. You can find her contact information in the show notes, so don't let that be the thing that stops you. Take the next step. And speaking of next steps, if you love She Sweet Society, the best thing you can do is spread the word. Share this episode with a woman in your life who needs to hear it. Leave us a review. Tell a friend. This community grows because of you, and I'm so grateful for every single one of you who shows up here. Remember, your life is your story to tell. Own it. Until next time, I'm Dahlia. Thanks for being here.